Manny Pacquiao picks Undisputed, Errol Spence or Terence Crawford. Let's break it down. What's good, everybody? It's your boy, Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, y'all. So, the big homie, the legend, the Filipino superstar, Manny Pacman Pacquiao, recently gave an interview and he spoke on his pick for Undisputed in the upcoming fight, Errol Spence versus Terence Bud Crawford. I want to give my 2 cents and break down what Pacquiao had to say for anybody who is listening. Alright, so to put it shortly, the homie Manny Pacquiao basically said he feels like this fight comes down to how these two guys prepare, and he feels like that one of these guys has a slight edge. But I want to speak on what he meant by how these guys prepare.
So I want everybody to tune in July 29th, come to the fight, because we're going to have a crawfish boil.
So what does he mean by it's going to go down to how these guys prepare? I kind of talked about this the other day, and man, I do so many, I don't even remember which one. So you just got to go back and watch the last few videos, and you'll find where I talked about that a little bit. But it's basically going to come down to how they prepare. You know, what are you preparing for your opponent to bring to the ring? Now, when it comes to Errol Spence, if I was him, if I was the truth, I would be thinking that Terence Crawford is going to come in with some type of really speedy style, similar to what I've been saying to Vasil Lomachenko and how he defeated Devin Haney but did not get the victory. He won the fight, he just didn't get the victory. So, you know, I think that should be a lesson to all fighters. I think that should be a game plan for all speed style fighters when you're trying to go up against a fighter who is bigger than you. You should always be trying to out-quick that guy. Keep that guy on his toes. Keep moving around the ring. Keep it to where he cannot hit you. If he can't hit you, he can't hurt you. He's naturally the bigger guy, so that's your biggest threat, is him hitting you and hurting you. It might not even knock you out, but hurting you to the point to where you're having to, you know, maybe clutch your ribs because he hurt your ribs, or you know, maybe he hit you in the elbow and your elbow's messed up. What that does is you tend to have to tuck your body at that point, and you can't really throw because he's damaged a part of your body that you have to tuck to protect and not have it damaged to the point to where you can't continue for the rest of the fight. So if I was Errol Spence and I was going in versus Terence Bud Crawford, like the homie Manny Pacquiao said, I would be preparing for speed. And the one thing I think Spence can do to combat that, you know, or counteract that, is he has to come back with speed of his own. And the only place I feel like he doesn't possess good speed is in his foot movement. You young stuttering motherfucker, shut up! If he can correct his foot movement, Errol Spence might be unstoppable. He might be unbeatable if he can correct his foot movement. And even when he moves up to the higher weights, I think he will be the naturally smaller guy at the higher weights, which means he's the naturally quicker guy. So if he can make it to where his foot movement is better, you know, and he can use angles himself along with his great jab and the way he cuts off the ring and utilizes the ring, he might be unstoppable. I got 5 shells left. One of them gonna rip right up the crack of your monkey head. I already think Terence Crawford's in for a long night, but if Errol Spence adds that new dynamic into his game, he's gonna knock Terence Crawford out pretty quickly. And you know, I have to agree with Manny Pacquiao on that side. Now, when it comes to Bud Crawford, how would I be preparing for Errol the Truth Spence Jr.? You know, well, the one thing I just spoke about that Errol can bring to the ring would be that foot movement. And, you know, maybe if he can utilize some angles himself, then I think it would throw Terence Crawford off. I don't think anybody out there is preparing for a quick moving Errol Spence because he's so dead-footed or he's so zombie-footed or so mummy-footed when he fights. And it's for a reason. It's to control distance. It's to utilize the jab and not move quicker than the jab is being pumped out there. But, if Terence Crawford is able to get Errol Spence in a situation to where he's turning him and he's keeping him on his toes and he's keeping those angles and he's hitting him from those odd angles, it's going to be a long night for Errol Spence because, mummy foot Errol Spence is not going to be able to keep up with that.
You're going to know when to hold him, know when to fold him, know when to make it happen. It's just like that.
That's the one thing and I would be preparing for and trying to utilize in this fight if I was Terence Crawford would be the speed, the angles, and if you come into the fight and the first round, second round, you see Errol Spence is being very mummy-footed or dead-footed, you're going to need to take advantage of that, similar to Vasyl Lomachenko. The one thing I don't know if people noticed was Vasyl Lomachenko allowed Devin Haney to tire himself out. And not only that, he conserved his energy for like the first 4, maybe 5 rounds, and he just turned it on and demolished Devin Haney. Devin Haney might have won the first 3, 4 rounds, but he was whooped on for the next 6 rounds, 7 rounds, and he lost the fight. And I just hope that, I'm not a Terence Crawford hater. I'm riding with Errol Spence for this one, but I'm not a Crawford hater. And what I want to see is if Terence Crawford does put together some game plan like that and it ends up working out for him, I don't want to see Terence Crawford get cheated out of his victory. As much as I think Spence is going to win, I'm not about cheating people who worked hard to gain something.
But then there's people that are those are the smarter ones, and they'll catch you for 20. There has not been a dollar amount yet that's made me sad about my principles and my morals. I've been tested heavy. Hundreds of millions, tens of millions, millions, and I always say no.
That's completely unfair. That ruins the sport. It makes people not want to purchase these fights because you're never going to get the outcome that you want or even deserve because the fighter you like actually won the fight. That's not fair, man. That is completely unfair. And perhaps boxing needs some new regulation system to where they can fix that, in the future. Like, if they have bad decisions in fights, at least, there'll be some type of judging body that can go back, rescore it. And if there was truly a mistake, those fights need to be do-over fights. They need to be rematched. And those guys should be forced by the sanctioning bodies to rematch those fights, And I think that would be fair. If you're going to cheat somebody, there needs to be a regulatory committee that can fix that and can go back and at least call for a rematch. Or you have to drop your title. That would be fair, And I think that might not fix all the problems, but it would definitely make the judges make better decisions in some of these fights so we don't have to go through this as fans.
It feels good to be able to link up and be a rock star without saying anything that's going to hurt our culture because I know how to make money off hurting our culture. I've done it. And karmically, it's kicked me in the ass.
So, what the big homie Manny Pacquiao was saying, I think he's 100% correct. And he also said that he feels like one of these guys holds the key to victory, and he actually feels like it's Terence Crawford. He feels like Terence Crawford, similar to what I've been saying all video and, for the last couple of videos, has the opportunity to utilize angles, and I think that's what wins someone the fight. And I think that's what Manny Pacquiao was alluding to and hinting at. He didn't actually say that exactly, but he said something very similar to that. And, hey, I agree with him. The guy who prepares correctly for his opponent's game plan is going to win the fight. The one who prepares correctly for his opponent's game plan is most definitely going to be undisputed. And Manny Pacquiao, I think he's riding with Bud. He picked Bud when the fight was going to happen last summer. So I think he's sticking with his pick. But nobody's overlooking Errol Spence or counting Errol out, because I'm rocking with Errol. I love Manny, but I'm rocking with Errol on this with Manny. Y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me. Share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter. You're more than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collab or feature a product on the channel, hit the same Gmail. It is flockofcards@gmail.com. And we are man.
You know what that means. I wake up in the afternoon, about an hour afternoon. A long list of shit I gotta do before the day concludes. I gotta make some moves. Gotta make a K or two if that's okay with you. Look, my baby need food just like you. Every month rent due just like you. But every time I look up, niggas wanting to hook up. They got the game shook up. Cops trying to book us, but they illiterate. Bitches is inconsiderate. Nowadays, if you ain't paid, you insignificant. LLC, what the business is? Niggas ain't shit. Bitches ain't shit, politicians ain't shit. Niggas talk shit, I don't speak that language. I walk up on the dame like this. Hey, so what's your name? Do you like to get high? Do you like cocaine? Do you like those bars? Do you like those tabs? Whatever you need, girl, I'm sure to have. I got it all. I got it. Niggas hit me like where the weed at. I got it. Niggas hit me like where the lean at. I got it. My baby mama hit me like where my bread at. I got it. So you know what that means. Back to verse 2, no rehearsal. I'm killing it, bring a hearse through. And a nurse too. And if she cute, I give her ass some perfume and a purse too. Now if you was a dime on a scale from 1 to 10, would you work fast food or would you strip to get paid? I ain't gon' judge, baby girl, do your thing. Cause the manager at Burger King ain't making it rain. I got a lot of niggas doing criminal things, but it's either that or work for minimum wage. I don't know what got into these niggas these days, but that lazy ass hustle shit ain't getting you paid. Now if you really eating, put your pennies away. Rich folks laughing at us while we pissing away. But I ain't on the pulpit, I don't preach. But I will walk up on one of them freaks and say, hey, so what's your name?